It is well documented that Jeffrey Dahmer once held a job at a chocolate factory. What was Jeffrey Dahmer really like at work? The answer might surprise you. Today, we'll examine the testimony of Wayne Boening, Jeff's supervisor at Ambrosia Chocolate from 1986 to 1991. Interestingly, Wayne described Jeff as polite, reliable, a team player, a good employee. But can this image connect to the narratives we've all come to know, or does it challenge them? Wayne Boening spent 5 years supervising Jeffrey Dahmer and recalled no red flags, no complaints about Jeff, no issues with behavior. More intriguingly, Wayne reported no signs of the alcoholism widely associated with Jeffrey Dahmer's infamous persona. But here's where things get even more puzzling. Dahmer was reportedly on probation for 1 year after a 1986 lewd behavior conviction. Cynthia Sarton, the probation agent assigned to Jeff in 1987, even testified on court TV. However, neither Wayne nor plant superintendent Melvin Heaney mention any employment restrictions or assessment of risk to others during their testimonies. Why is that? Watch as Wayne Boening testifies.
And then, sir, would you state your name and spell your last name, please?
Wayne Boening, Boening.
And Mr. Boening, you're employed at the Westside Chocolate Factory?
That's correct.
How long have you been so employed?
It's over 11 years.
And what are your duties there present?
I'm a production supervisor.
And in the course of your employment, did you have the opportunity to meet someone known to you as Jeffrey Dahmer?
Yes, I did.
Is he present in the courtroom now?
Yes, he is.
You stipulate?
I stipulate, Your Honor.
Okay. When did you first meet Mr. Dahmer?
I became his supervisor, I believe it was in May of 1986. I had met him before that, but I became his supervisor then.
Okay. Do you recall if he was an employee of the Westside Chocolate Company at the time you became a supervisor?
At the time that I became a supervisor?
His supervisor?
Yes, he was.
Okay. And did he have to go through a probationary period?
Yes, he did.
How long does the probationary period last?
Probationary period is 1 year.
Okay. And did you review his performance while he was on probation?
I did not.
Okay. How many folks did you directly supervise when you were supervising Mr. Dahmer in 1986?
In 86, would have been 4 people.
Okay. Did you have any major problems with Mr. Dahmer in the early years of his employment with the Westside Chocolate Company?
No, I did not.
What is the title of what job Mr. Dahmer had at the Westside Chocolate Company?
He is a member of a production team involved in making chocolate.
Okay. And specifically, would you describe his job as that of a mixer?
Yes, you could use that.
Okay. And is that pretty much the same position he held up until the time of his termination in July of this year? Last year?
Yes.
Okay. Could you describe what the duties of a mixer are, please?
He'd be responsible for measuring ingredients according to a recipe.
Okay. Would he have to order up raw materials?
Yes, he would.
Okay. And would he have to add the cocoa, the oil, the sugar, the flavorings to the all those raw materials to make the basic chocolate?
Yes.
Okay. And would specific ingredients have to be added at certain times relative to other ingredients?
Pretty much so, yes.
Okay. And did Mr. Dahmer perform those sort of activities adequately?
He did a satisfactory job.
Okay. How many mixers work at one time, usually?
When we're fully staffed, 3.
Okay. Compared with other mixers who worked at the Westside Chocolate Company, How was Mr. Dahmer's performance? How would you rate his performance?
It was satisfactory.
Okay. Did Mr. Dahmer get along with the other employees?
As much as I could see, yes.
How did he act in relation to you? Did he get along with you?
I had no problems with Jeff.
Was he polite, courteous?
Jeff was always polite and courteous, receptive.
Okay. Did he make sense when he spoke with you?
Yes.
Able to carry on an intelligent conversation?
Yes.
Okay. He had good days and bad days just like everyone else. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. Is it fair to say that Mr. Dahmer kept pretty much to himself?
I think it would be fair to say that, yes.
Okay. Did you think that was odd in any way?
No, I wouldn't say so.
Okay.
He was quiet and reserved. He had no problem interacting with others, but just seemed mainly to stay to himself.
I'd like to draw your attention back to about 1988, 1989. Do you recall when Mr. Dahmer was staying at the House of Correction?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Was there any marked change in his work performance at that time?
No, nothing that I noticed.
Okay. Did you have any indication that he was going through some period of great stress in his life or was unable to do his work duties?
No.
Okay. In fact, would it be fair to say that Mr. Dahmer volunteered for extra overtime while he was working there, while he was living at the House of Corrections?
Yes, he did.
Okay. Anything strange about that?
No, not really.
Actually, it's kind of nice for an employer when an employee volunteers to do overtime, isn't it?
It makes it much easier than trying to assign it to somebody who may not want it.
Getting down to different behavior on Mr. Dahmer's part. According to company records, at one point, he appears to have poured the wrong oil into a mixing vat, and the planned product had to be changed. Do you recall that incident?
Specifically, no.
Okay. If Mr. Dahmer was written up or reprimanded for that, would that be something completely out of your knowledge? Would that be the sort of thing that you wouldn't be able to believe?
No, that would be something that I would do if an incident of that nature occurred.
Okay, would it be fair to say that that sort of mistake could happen to just about anyone who's a mixer at some time?
Yes.
Okay. Other than his pattern of attendance, are you aware of any other problem that Jeff Dahmer had at work?
Nothing major at all. No.
Okay. Let's talk about Mr. Dahmer's appearance at work. Was he usually well groomed?
Usually, yes.
Okay. Come to work clean?
Yes, as much as
haircut?
I could see, yes.
Okay. Was there any indication that Mr. Dahmer was racist while you were working with him?
No indication to me, no.
Okay. How many years did you work with Mr. Dahmer as his foreman or supervisor?
It was over 5 years.
Okay. During that time, would it be fair to say that you had the opportunity to observe Mr. Dahmer closely?
I would say so, yes.
Okay. During that time, did you ever believe that Mr. Dahmer was hearing voices,
No.
having hallucinations?
No.
Was he able to carry on intelligent conversations?
Yes.
Did he ever respond to your questions in an incoherent manner?
No.
Was he ever what appeared to you to be irrational?
No.
Did he ever do anything that you thought was just strange or bizarre?
No.
Do you recall any inappropriate behavior on Mr. Dahmer's part?
No.
Just adding up the dates from 1986 to July of 91, you worked with him a little over 5 years, right?
Yes.
And those are 40 hours a week, 50 weeks a year pretty much, right?
Yes.
Considering that whole 5-year period, can you describe what impression was made on your mind by the conduct, actions, manner, expressions, and and conversations which you observed in Mr. Dahmer?
I thought nothing unusual at all. He, as I said before, he was a satisfactory employee. Pretty much did his job and kept to himself.
Seemed like a fairly nice guy.
Yes.
No further questions.
Cross-examination.
Mr. Boening, you've indicated that there was a period of time that Mr. Dahmer volunteered for overtime work, correct?
Yes.
And you knew at the time that he was spending time at the House of Correction, correct?
I was aware of that, yes.
And would you agree then, of course, that you would know that if he volunteered for additional overtime, it was due to the fact that he knew he would be out of jail longer by working longer? Isn't that true?
Yes.
Okay. Did you ever socialize with Mr. Dahmer?
Socialize...
Outside of work?
Outside of work? No.
You never did?
I did give him a ride home once, but as far as socializing, no.
That would be the extent of anything socially that you did with Mr. Dahmer?
Yes.
Okay. Now, Mr. Dahmer, as I see is indicated here, has worked at the company from January of '85. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So that was about 7 years before the time that he was actually dismissed. 6.5, 7 years, close to.
Yes.
Okay. And during that time, I think you testified that you had indicated you were a supervisor for 5 of those years?
Yes.
Okay. Now, during the period of time prior to December of '89, would you say as his supervisor that he was in pretty good attendance?
Yes, I think he had run into trouble once before that where he had gotten himself pretty far into our attendance system, but he had pulled out of that.
Okay. I have here some records of disciplinary action sheets. It indicates, you have your signature on here that indicates that on December 1st of 1989, that there was excessive absenteeism, and there was a record of written warning for that. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And then again, on 4/8 of '91, you have your signature again to a record of disciplinary action, indicating that he was given a verbal warning. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that.
Once again, in 5/20 of '91, there was once again your signature to a record of disciplinary action giving an additional written warning for absenteeism. If I was to tell you this also exists, would you agree with that?
Yes.
And again, in 6 of '91, there was again another, you signed another record of disciplinary action giving a final warning. Now, that's correct?
That's correct.
So in fact, there was verbal and written warnings given to Mr. Dahmer during this period of time showing a deterioration in his work, correct?
That's correct.
Excuse me, let me rephrase it. Showing a deterioration in tardiness.
Tardiness and...
Absenteeism, correct?
Yes.
They all indicate here that there was excessive absenteeism.
Yes.
Okay, so it'd be fair to say that from December of '89 through up to the point of time in July when he was eventually discharged, that there was a considerable deterioration in his attendance at work, correct?
Yes, enough to move him along in our attendance system.
Okay. Now you have certain rules at the company that you have to follow relative to attendance, or otherwise you'll be discharged, correct?
That's correct.
And these rules are on what, a point system that you have?
Yes.
And after so many points are accumulated, you're discharged?
Yes, it's progressive.
Okay. Well, then would you agree then that due to this progression of absenteeism in the record of Mr. Dahmer here, that he was fired because he failed to conform his conduct to the requirements and conditions of his employment?
He lost his job for excessive absenteeism.
Because he failed to follow the rules, correct?
I guess you could put it that way.
And he failed even after warning to conform to the rules, correct?
I did speak with him every time that he was given a warning.
And so he didn't conform.
He lost his job for excessive absenteeism.
Okay. You've indicated before that you didn't find that there was anything unusual about the fact that he kept to himself. Would you have considered him a loner?
I guess you could, yes.
Okay. Did you have an opportunity as a supervisor to observe him at lunch breaks or other breaks?
Occasionally.
So do you know what he was like with any of his fellow employees at lunchtime or break time?
The few times that I did observe him at lunch or on a break, I noticed him sitting by himself.
Okay. Did you ever have occasion to believe that he was drinking on the job?
No.
Were you aware at any time that he had a skull kept in his locker?
No.
Was there have been anyone there who would have had access or been able to get access to his locker there?
I believe the company does have keys for all of the lockers.
So so somebody could get in there if necessary?
If there was a reasonable cause, the company could open up his locker. If there was a great reason to suspect anything
Sure, that's fine.
unusual, yes.
Was there anything at all that would give you any reason to believe that Mr. Dahmer was an alcoholic from his job performance?
No.
Any time just from speaking with him that you've ever smelled alcohol in his breath?
No.
No further questions.
Media reports painted Jeff as a very troubled individual with mounting issues, absenteeism, alcoholism, and bizarre habits. And according to Brian Masters, author of The Shrine of Jeffrey Dahmer, his probation officer even referenced a 1987 diagnosis of Dahmer suffering from a schizoid personality disorder with paranoid features for presentation to the court. Yet, his own supervisor saw him as a diligent and satisfactory employee who gave no reason for concerns. Could these conflicting narratives suggest yet more exaggerations and gaps in how this story was told? We're left wondering about some critical questions. Why did Jeff Dahmer's coworkers fail to notice anything unusual about his behavior or performance for so many years? Why do the testimonies mention nothing about probation or counseling requirements? And how much of this image, the Milwaukee Cannibal, aligns with the person Wayne and Jeff's other coworkers saw every day for years? In Part 2, we'll explore the testimony of Plant Superintendent Melvin Heaney and dig deeper into inconsistencies surrounding Jeffrey Dahmer's work life and the stories that shaped public perception. Subscribe for more investigative insights and share your thoughts below as we uncover the truth about Jeffrey Dahmer.